You're with Newsmakers. On the panel, Chris Hutching, Sheryl, Sutherland and Dave Henderson. Well, the City Council has unveiled a fresh blueprint for the CBD after commissioning the Danish urban designer Jan Gehl to cast his eye over the proposals. And this action plan, which has a whole heap of recommendations, is going to be worked on over the next few years. Some of the interesting proposals include kicking cars off Colombo Street, and also this idea that's been, well, on the cards for a few years in Christchurch, cutting the speed limit to 30k on inner city streets. We'll throw it over to you, the good, bad and the ugly. What do you like, what don't you like? Dave?
Well, the extent, I've had a good look at this and tried to understand it, tried to be inspired by what he's saying. The big problem I have is with the car issue that you were alluding to in your intro there. And I mean, I have the view that where we need to be right now in Christchurch CBD in terms of cars is to be enormously permissible. You know, we need to let the cars come in here. Christchurch people love their cars. You know, sure, there's been an uptake in public transport, but Christchurch people fundamentally love their cars. We want people into the CBD, so we should be making every avenue, no pun intended, available to get cars into here. And the focus should actually be on car parking and making that as available as we can, as opposed to blocking cars. Block cars, people won't come. As simple as that. You know, it's the Paris story. You know, people go into Paris regardless of whether how they can get in there, whether it's public transport, walk, they'll go in there because it's such a cool central city. It's such a cool CBD. We ain't there yet. And so the opposite is true for us. We need to make it very accessible and very available, and cars have to be an important part of that.
Wow, okay. Sheryl?
I agree.
Yeah?
Again, it's a bit of a worry, and frankly, everybody drives down Colombo Street at 30k anyhow. Drives me insane, and I certainly don't want to be at the mercy of only cyclists in the central city. I have never seen a polite cyclist yet.
Oh, nonsense.
Mr. Hutching.
Chris comes on.
What absolute rubbish. Look,
How
I
many
love
red lights
this.
have you biked through, Chris?
What? Sorry?
How many red lights have you biked through?
Frequently, but it's a lot safer to do so on a bike.
Chris should be excused because he doesn't wear a helmet, which I think is great.
I don't go fast, I don't have a racing bike. However, I love this guy's ideas, but sadly, I do have to agree with Dave. I mean, people just aren't going to come here. It's a recipe for a wasteland as it is. What I would like to see is both of these things accommodated. I'd like to see proper, dedicated cycle lanes where you're not trying to fight with cars and buses, as well as allowing free parking in the inner city. I got pinged the other day for a parking fine when on the odd occasion I used my car, and it just angers you so much. I mean, what is the council going to do if it doesn't have this this income from car parking fines if they do this plan?
Heaven forbid, yes.
There'll be bike fines, Chris.
Yes, exactly.
No helmets will go up.
Now, of course, speaking of the central city, the council's $17 million purchase of 5 Henderson properties. Dave Henderson has first call to buy back the properties, and the first cab off the rank is the northern portion of the old Para Rubber site. Are you buying it back, Mr. Henderson?
Oh, very close to, Mike. It's obviously a difficult marketplace to do anything in right now. The terms and conditions of those options, I have to tell you, are very tough. But I'm very committed to that process, as I was back then, and still, despite all the issues and difficulties, very close to doing something.
When is the expiry date?
It's imminent.
I thought it was Sunday. Am I wrong?
Oh, essentially it is then. You know, there's obviously still a couple of things to get over, but, you know, we're on track for doing that.
I don't want to sound impertinent, but how are you financing it?
Well, that's part of the process, is we're bringing in partners to work with us to achieve that end. So,
What's envisaged on that site? Are we talking retail and apartments?
It's we've done extensive designs for it, which we've done over the last 12 months, with retail on the ground floor and some seriously cool apartments above. They're very small little loft apartments loaded with high-tech amenities at a very affordable price. And I mean, that's been the key, has been trying to get the price point right, because Christchurch is tough enough to sell central city residential anyway, without there being a horrible marketplace out there to have to deal with. So we had to come up with something pretty good and pretty well priced, and that's been a difficult challenge, you know. And I'm paying a lot for the land, so yeah, it's been a tough call. But we're working with a couple of partners who are going to make it possible.
So when do you think this will be signed off with the council?
Oh, in the next few days.
All right.
Yep.
And when do you think development will begin on that site?
Oh, hopefully in the next 3 or 4 months. We've got a degree of pre-sales we need to do, so we're underway with that, with an initial round of that, and so we just need to complete that and then get underway. But, you know, I mean, development is tough, and it's tough in Christchurch, and it's very tough in this market. So.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris?
I think it's going to be very challenging commercially, and I think if Dave is too involved, it's going to be very unpopular.
Do you think this will be an election issue, by the way, come October?
Mate, I never have any feel for those things. I'm just not a political animal. So I dare say that there'll be people like Martin van Been at the press who'll be keen to make it an election issue. But I don't know whether it's a relevant election issue or not.
Okay. Sheryl, any thoughts?
Well, some of the all of the developments that Dave's been involved with, I actually really have liked the look of. The only argument I've had is the City Council buying the properties from him in the first place. I thought that was a very, very bizarre move, but all I can say, I guess, is good luck to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were keen at the time, as we've all discussed and debated, to preserve the vision that for that area, that part of town, that south of Litchfield area, and it was the first time that there'd been a significant consolidation of properties, you know, and if all of that had got split up, I suppose it was going to lose that opportunity. And I mean, you know, everything that goes on in the CBD is very fragile, so you know, keeping it going is tough.
How do you see the market evolving this year, you know, in terms of the economic pressures?
It's going to be hard for a long, long time to come, you know, a number of years now.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do.
Compared to, say, a year ago, do you think the downturn, the flatness, is playing out longer than you thought it would?
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone's starting to realise that, you know, it's going to be a tough marketplace. You know, Christchurch is a tough marketplace, period. It is. It's not a wealthy city. Yeah. That makes it tough. And doing things in the CBD is even tougher. So we've got immigration, we've got population growth. That's going to put demand on housing, and that'll create opportunities. But you know, it's still going to be tough.
All right, we'll take a break. You're being very reticent there, Mr. Hutching. We will take a break. Coming up very shortly, a quick look at XT. What a nightmare for telecom, and also a few crime-related issues. Do stay with us.